What's up, guys? So, first full day a week of trading. I just actually recorded this like 10 minutes ago, but I didn't have the right fucking camera settings. So, god damn it, I'm doing it again. I'll fucking chill. But I'm gonna quickly go through how I did last week, how my trades kind of performed, how my expectations held up, what went how I expected, what didn't, etc., 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 and kind of then like what I kind of expect for next week. So, all right, let's go into the charts. 1 second. Go. All right, so now we're looking at the day chart for gold. So these were the last 5 days. Last week was actually a really good week for me in terms of my trading. What went as I expected? Well, the first thing that did go as I expected was that initial few days we did get pretty much just a lot of sideways action. And that was something I was expecting. So when you're expecting that sideways action, you can actually make pretty decent money. I mean, nothing great, but you can trade those kind of smaller swings. And that's what I really did for the first 2 days, pretty profitably. Did about 1% of each of those days, 1% profit, right, on my gold account. Yeah, so that was good. Another thing that definitely went in as I expected was this bullish spike that we experienced in gold price when the Fed interest rate meeting came out. And although nothing changed as was expected with interest rate, investors were clearly kind of dovish about it and, wanted to hedge against the dollar a little bit in terms of gold. So I wrote that wave with my trades. I had my trades set up perfectly for that. Made good amount of money on this particular day that it happened. And yeah, I was very, very happy about that. That was definitely my most profitable day in terms of trading. So that was really, really good. One other thing, the last thing that really did go as I expected was that we would at some point, just given the natural swings of the market, we would test this 50-day, which is the green line here, and the 21-day point, this convergence here, as support. And we did that quite a few times throughout this past week. And we always bounced off it typically, except this one time, really well. So that did go as I expected, and I definitely made some money off making sure that I traded that bounce. All right, so now to go through to what didn't go as I expected, right? The first thing is I definitely overlooked Biden's speech. I wasn't keeping up to date with that, and that was a big mistake on my part because obviously he spoke a lot about kind of the economic policies that he wants, the plans that he has to really make the American economy recover even more. And that was a big oversight on my part. That combined with a lot of positive economic data that came out in the past week, such as the CB confidence data, also the initial jobless claims data, all which was very positive for the dollar. That whole combination actually led to much bigger effects in terms of the gold price than I expected. We hadn't seen that kind of effect previously, but I think it was just that general narrative over the week that really led to, bigger dumps in gold price, bigger drops down, etc. If we look at the 15-minute chart, we had some pretty big drops that we really saw over those last few days, like this one here, etc., etc. So, this one here in particular, this one, we saw some big drops. So that was definitely something that I did not expect, and I need to learn from this because I need to make sure that these types of things are just things you cannot miss if you want to be a better, more experienced gold trader, right? Another thing that I also, and it's kind of related in terms of the whole general like this narrative of recovering American economy and dollar, is yields. I kind of underestimated or did not consider how much of a bounce that we had on this 50-day, right, in terms of the yields. This kind of look at how yields went up over this past week, right? And obviously we know that increases in 10-year treasury yields leads to decreases in gold. I mean, there's definitely a strong relationship there, at least right now for sure at these kind of yield levels. So I underestimated how much of an effect that this would have on the price, particularly going against my general bullish sentiment. And it's something that I certainly need to make sure I continue paying attention for very closely in the next weeks. Again, in combination with this recovering economy narrative that's going on, it's very important to make sure I'm on top of yield price or yield levels during this time when trading gold. The last key thing that did not go as I expected is certainly also the fact that we did not end up testing the 1800 level again, which I kind of expected that we would make a retest at some point based on the really bullish momentum that we had at the end of the previous week. But turns out that this particularly strong resistance line on the downward sloping resistance line on the weekly chart is proving to be a tough one to crack, right? Now this was the 5th time we actually tested that level after the Fed interest rate meeting happened. We tested it, and on this particular week, that coincided with a level of 1790, and I didn't think it would be that strong. I mean, I guess I should have. That was kind of an oversight on my part, but man, we bounced off that hard. 100%. And we bounced off that so hard in combination with the positive dollar data and positive American economy data that we made a huge dump all the way back to the 1755, 56 level. And, this is something we certainly have to be paying attention to now. I mean, when you bounce off a line 5 or 6 times on the week chart like that, you better be paying attention, right? So, what does this then, therefore, all of this, therefore, lead to, or how does this shape what I'm kind of expecting for next week? Well, I was quite surprised that we made this test all the way back down to the 1755, 56 level. Ultimately, I kind of know that we were going to have to make that test at some point, just given how strong of a resistance period it was, or resistance level it was for the last few weeks, etc. So I knew that we were going to have to do it at some point, but I didn't expect it honestly to be right now. But maybe it's a good thing. And all I know is that because we already tested it once this past week, I do expect now that we are going to be testing it again. And I think the real main price narrative that we want to pay attention for the next week is are we going to, with all this positive recovering the economy narrative going on for this past week, is the general trend really going to change now in terms of gold price? I think it was pretty clear that over the last few weeks, we were definitely in more of a bullish trend. Is that going to really cause a reversal here? I'm personally not so sure, just because, or I'm not that confident in that, just because, again, inflation is clearly happening, all those types of things. And I do think that gold is a relatively undervalued asset at the moment. But, even in that case, even if you're still a bull like me, what I would really like to see, and I did mention this once, and I think it would be very healthy, is to see a retest of this, even maybe twice over the next week. But I want to see strong bounces off this. And I do think that we're going to get it, given how strong of a resistance level it was before. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. And how am I going to play that? Well, make sure I have buy orders set at this key level, so that when we do get that bounce, we make a nice profit. I think that's going to be the main narrative. The second one, of course, will be, will we test this resistance level again? As it's going to continue down more, it's most likely that we're going to probably test this resistance level around this 1780 price level, right? Maybe 1785. I expect, again, off that, it's proven to be strong already 5 or 6 times. I'm sure we're going to get another bounce off it again, and probably even make a second attempt at it over the next week. So next week is going to be really interesting. I think there's a strong resistance and a strong support that we can play off. set our buys at the strong support, set our sells at the strong resistance, and then also in between in that kind of like middle area that we're experiencing just here on the chart, you know, set some buys, set some sells that make sense, okay, based on how the trend is currently moving and how the swing is kind of going, right? Be smart about it. But I think next week we can definitely continue to do well. So how did I actually perform this week? Last quick thing. I actually ended up having one of my best weeks, as I said. I did 5%. I did a 5% profit over the week on my account. So my account at the beginning of the week was around 38,000 baht, which is around 1,100 whatever dollars or something like that. Did 5% on that, so now it's over 40,000 baht. Really, really happy with that performance and how my trades performed. I wasn't so stoked with how my trades performed on Friday, right? Friday was definitely my worst day because we had a really weird day in terms of price. I don't know if you guys recognize that, but we just kind of stayed. Let me go to the 15-minute chart. We kind of just stayed in this channel, but you got these really very long candles with these very long wicks here, and it really kind of looked like, multiple times throughout the day that especially with like the big economic data and happenings the last previous 24 to 48 hours, that we were going to see some sort of big drop or spike, but we didn't get either. It just kind of still stuck in this channel, and because I didn't expect it to stick in that channel, I didn't really get to open the positions that I really wanted. So I wasn't really planning for the price to go sideways like this. Therefore, unfortunately, I barely made any money. I basically made no money on this particular day. I had like a couple positions open, but I just realized that I wasn't really going anywhere and it was going against my expectations, so I just closed with some crappy profit. It's whatever. I know I'm going to get these days and I just can't get frustrated. Anyway, but overall, good week. It's also been really nice to do these videos, just for myself. I look back at these videos sometimes and I'm like, oh man, yeah, I was kind of right there, I wasn't. So it's really good to see. It's also just to see how my trades perform. So if anybody wants to follow me on how I'm doing this, or talk to me about like my strategy a lot more, or just talk gold price, talk strategy, ask for some advice, yeah, feel free to hit me up. I'll start doing videos again on gold price on Monday, with my kind of like weekly video, then go day by day, etc. I'll probably also do some content on more like my actual strategy and stuff, more on like how I'm setting up my buys and sells, as long with my general kind of market analysis, and kind of like, big things I want to learn, big mistakes I already learned that I shouldn't be making, all that kind of stuff. I'll probably do that stuff over time. Tomorrow I will also, I'm going to try and do Sundays, I'm going to try and do more crypto content, as well as some more crypto content throughout next week, because I know crypto is really big right now, and actually I'm a much better crypto trader than I am gold. I just think gold's way more fun. Forex is way more fun. So, all right, man. Cool. Peace.